Hello there, everybody. It's Shepherd Chong, and bringing you another episode of Abyssalcraft is kind of awesome. And in today's episode, we are covering the PE system, how it works, and what materials you'll need for it. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna split this into two episodes with what you do with the PE system in the next episode, because I've got a good bit of stuff to cover, and I really do want to try to keep these episodes less than half an hour because, you're investing a good bit of time with that kind of thing. Try to keep it simple and whatnot. So let's get started. So, with the PE system, it's actually pretty simple, but at the same time, it's a bit different than other energy systems in various mods for Minecraft. PE stands for potential energy, and you use it using the Necronomicon. Now you see here how it says 0 out of 5,000 PE? The Necronomicon and its upgrades are storage devices for PE. Put it as simple as I can. Now, in order to get PE, you need some special materials. And those materials are from these crafting recipes right here. So, at the most basic level, there are two ways to get PE. Is with this item here, the energy pedestal, and this item here, the sacrificial altar. So, in order to get the energy pedestal, you need these items. This stuff is monolith stone, which you get from the Shoggoth layers and the Shoggoth monoliths. There's a shadow gem and a corallium pearl. So what do you do with the energy pedestal to get PE? Well, I've got it over here. This is what an energy pedestal looks like. Let's take that off. And you just put a Necronomicon on by right-clicking. Now this is the Necronomicon we took off of there. You notice how that one said it had 0 out of 5,000? This has 5,000 out of 5,000. Just putting a Necronomicon on the energy pedestal is all it takes to get PE. Now, you should note that the energy pedestals are sort of slow. There are upgraded versions of the energy pedestal, which I'm going to be showing you in the video with the craftings, with the other part of this video. How to get the better versions. So yeah, getting it from 0 to 5,000 with the normal energy pedestal probably take it. I haven't timed it, but I'm thinking at least 15 minutes. I think. Now the other method to get PE is through the sacrificial altar. Again, you need a monolith stone, shadow gem, corallium pearl, in this case torches. Now this works a bit differently, and in my personal opinion, it's a bit less efficient than the energy pedestal. So, this is what it looks like in the world, and just like the energy pedestal, there are upgraded versions of the sacrificial altar. And again, you put the Necronomicons on it by right-clicking, and you take it off by right-clicking. How much does this have in it? This has 40. Okay, that's fine. So how does it work? Well, I'm going to show you. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. The sacrificial altar targets mobs nearby. You can tell which mob it's targeting by smoke particles coming off of it. Now what does this mean? Does that mean it's like sucking energy out of it and putting it in the Necronomicon? Well, let's see. No, it still has 40. So what the sacrificial altar does is that when the targeted mob dies, you get PE. Nope. See? 60. The cow gave it 20 PE. Now this one is being targeted. And now it's dead. And now this one is being targeted. Simple. But a bit slow compared to the energy pedestal. Because, again, there have to be mobs around it, and you have to kill them. Well, I just showed you peaceful mobs, but what about hostile mobs? Do they get targeted? As you can see from this creeper here, yes, it will target hostile mobs as well. And how much do you give us? It gave us 40. Notice that's twice what the cow gave us. Now, I notice that it is only targeting the creepers so far. Do you suppose that means it won't target the zombies? And the answer? Apparently not. I don't think I knew that. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go grab some stuff from Creative to test this out a bit. Okay. So I'm just testing this out, and none of these mobs are being targeted. Now, I suspect there is a lore reason for this, and this is because these mobs are undead. Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know this previously. So what about this pig? Yeah, so now this pig is being targeted, even though these mobs were around beforehand. Okay. And now, you notice this was a demon pig I spawned in. It is still being targeted, even though it's now a demon. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know this. So, these types of undead mobs will not work for the Sacrificial altar. Who knew? Probably the mod author. Now, there is one other method for collecting PE, which I'm going to get into in just a little bit. But it involves the Monolith stone. Now, if you take 4 Monolith stone and put them in a square in your crafting grid, you'll get these, the Monolith stone pillars. Now, these have a couple of uses, which, again, I'm going to get into in a bit. Now, at this point, you're probably asking, what exactly is PE used for? And it has to do with this setup here. Now, I've mentioned that the Necronomicon is basically a guide for the mod. So, in order to find out what to use PE for, and how to get it, you go under the Rituals tab. Go on to Information, and Getting Started. Useful! Now, what you see here is for the creation of a ritual altar. You use PE for rituals, and in order to use them, you make the ritual altar. Again, it's outlined here. And again, I really ought to make some video about how good the Necronomicon is or something. So anyway, in order to make the ritual altar, you need to put specific materials down in a pattern like this. And it has to be exactly like this. So why does it need to be exactly like this? Well, aside from the fact that that's the way the mod is set up, you cannot turn this stuff into a ritual altar if there is any other type of block or anything, pretty much anything other than mobs in this yellow area. Again, you don't have to use any specific material to put this stuff on. I'm just having it float up here to keep the other mobs and stuff away and whatnot, and to make it easier to understand. So, again, you basically just need a flat area to do this. Now, how do you turn this into a ritual altar? Well, you shift-right click on this with the Necronomicon, and boom, ritual altar. That easy. 3, 2, editing now. Three, two, 1. Now you notice that in the space where the pieces of the ritual altar go, I've put down the red stained clay. Basically, you have to put them in the exact place. If you don't, like say if I put that there, you can shift click with this for eternity and it won't do jack. Yeah. They have to be in the exact place. Now, to show you what I mean about other blocks, oh look, and there's another block there. Oh, it's not working. How totally expected. Anyway. Now at this point you're probably asking, well, that's a normal block. What about the stuff I've got here? How about this pressure plate? Nope. What about redstone? That's not really a block. Nope. What if you put it on... You've made this on dirt and there are flowers growing around? Nope. Even that will interfere. You literally need to have it in these exact spots. And you actually have to have this area clear as well. Even though it's outside of it, it still won't turn into the ritual altar. Now, you can make the ritual altar out of two different materials. Darkstone cobblestone and normal cobblestone. I'm using the darkstone just because I think it looks better. There is no actual difference between them. Now, I should note that what I just said about you can only make it out of cobblestone, that only applies to the overworld. You can make ritual altars out of different materials that you get from the different dimensions. Transition! No, I mentioned there was another way to get PE, aside from the energy pedestals and the sacrificial altars, and that has to do with these. These are the Shoggoth monoliths that I've mentioned before. Now, if you've used Abyssalcraft before, you've probably come across them. Probably. But until one of the most recent updates, there was no real details given as to where and how they appear. Because, like I mentioned when I was exploring this world to show off the structures that spawn in the Darklands, I had some trouble finding stuff. So, Shoggoth monoliths, where do they appear? They don't appear, is the answer. They only show up under very specific circumstances. And that has to do with the Shoggoths. And more importantly, the Shoggoth ooze. The Shoggoth monoliths will only appear when there's Shoggoth ooze on the ground, and more importantly, at least 5 Shoggoths, adult Shoggoths, I should say, around as well. They will just sort of get together, if they're close enough. There has to be a good bit of ooze on the ground, and they will literally just make one of the monoliths appear. Now, I might need to fast forward this a little bit, or just skip to it, when they make it. They don't exactly do it immediately. Ah, there we go. You know, you heard a sound like someone using an anvil. That sound happens when the Shoggoths build a monolith. Ah, and I think they just did another one here. That wasn't there a second ago if you were paying attention. Yeah, now, the Shoggoth... Yep, there's another one. The Shoggoth monoliths vary in size a good bit, and the statues that appear on the top vary as well. I believe there are 7 statues, I want to say, off the top of my head. Yeah, 7 statues. Now, the statues that appear are based on various characters from the Cthulhu mythos. See, this one is a statue of Shub-Niggurath, and this one here is a statue of Yog-Sothoth. And that is something that can happen around the statues. So what you just noticed that Shoggoth just sort of appeared out of nowhere and was on fire after a lightning strike. And you probably noticed that you've been hearing a good bit of lightning. That is because of the statues. Those are called disruptions. So remember the PE I mentioned just a bit ago? And what these have to do with the PE? You just saw the effect. When you come near a statue with a Necronomicon, that smoke particle is the Necronomicon, absorbing PE from the statues. Now, a little bit of lore here for you. PE is basically free energy that comes from a higher dimension. And these guys don't exactly like you using PE. So that's what those lightning strikes are about. disruptions. There are a bunch of different effects that disruptions can do. They can give you status effects. They'll summon mobs like the Shoggoth that appeared. Sometimes it'll just be flat out a lightning strike. I've had fireballs rain down on me. And there is one very rare disruption that I have had happen, which involves a mob that does not normally appear until the final dimension. So I just went around and cleared out all of the statues because those disruptions are loud. Yeah. Anyway, so about that final possible disruption and what it can spawn. It is this guy, Minion of the Gatekeeper. You notice that he has 250 HP. These guys are tough. Yeah. If you have the bad luck of one of these guys spawning from a disruption, you see that with fireballs right there. With the bad luck of having one of these guys spawn, you better hope you've got good armor. Yeah, these guys are tough. They are basically mini bosses. Oh, and they drop these Eldritch Scales. Now, look at this little setup here. Now, I mentioned the monolith stone pillars before, and what they're used for. The statues can be harvested with pickaxes. So you can go to the statues, find them, take them, and put them where you want. Oh. Need another need a different Necronomicon. Now you notice that the statues are emitting the smoke particles, which is, like I mentioned before, how you get PE from them to the energy pedestal. That was a disruption. Both literally and... Did I just get set on fire? So yeah, you can take the statues, put them around stuff like the energy pedestal, and the energy pedestal will work faster. I just took this one out of creative, where it had 0, and now it has 2,428. That is much faster than normal. But again, the statues cause disruption when the PE comes out of them. So if you want to do this, I'd suggest not putting it near your base, simply because of stuff like those fireballs that you saw earlier. So, what is this here? Well, this is a ritual altar that used cobblestone. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think the darkstone cobblestone looks better. But this is one of the effects you can get. This is a slowness effect that's caused by the disruptions. And this is a possible setup you can use. Now, you'll notice there's this sort of empty space here. Yeah, that used to be part of the platform, but then the disruptions caused some Shoggoths to appear. They turned the bricks into Shoggoth ooze. Then a fireball showed up and dissolved the Shoggoth ooze. Because unlike bricks, this stuff burns. Yes. Now, what is the advantage of this sort of setup? Well, I can tell you it's not because of disruptions. Yeah, well, disruptions are rather annoying. This setup actually has to do with the ritual charms. I mentioned them in the first video, and I'm going to show you how to make them. The first video being the one about the overworld biomes and the crafting recipes and stuff. Go away. But yeah, the ritual charms are about using the rituals. They have various effects, which I'm going to get into in the next video. Transition! Now, I mentioned that the Shoggoth monoliths will only spawn out of Shoggoth ooze. So, and I mentioned that Shoggoth ooze only appears where the Shoggoths go. So, and I also mentioned, trying to keep this train of thought, that when the Shoggoths walk, they turn blocks into the Shoggoth ooze. So I have this set up here. This row here is Abyssalcraft, and then various types of vanilla blocks, and that row there is various types of blocks from various other mods. Now, let's see what stuff gets turned into ooze. You'll note that the Monolith stone does not, but all of these do, except for the stuff that aren't proper blocks. Those are the slabs and the stairs. And you'll notice as well that it goes down more than one block. Yeah. So, I'd recommend not keeping Shoggoths near your base. And you'll notice that it can even turn ores into ooze. Ooh, that's pretty nasty. So much for those ores. Now what about leaves? Spin. You notice that the leaves were not affected. Well, technically the leaves aren't proper blocks. They're just sort of blocks. Pressure plates aren't affected. These various types of stones and stuff that we haven't seen because they're from other dimensions are affected as well. Now, how about this stuff? This stuff is kind of important. Now, you notice that this stuff, Ithaxium and Dark Ithaxium, are not affected. That's something for you to keep note of if you're paying attention. And again, those railroad things and the trapdoors, because they're not proper blocks, are not affected. Now, some vanilla blocks. Wool is affected. Bedrock obviously isn't. How about those diamond blocks, which are super rare and valuable for you? They're affected. Diamond ore. Netherrack and wood. They're affected. All of this stuff. Some of it so very valuable. It's affected. Glass isn't, and neither is glowstone. I'm just going to keep pushing you. I'm going to try to keep pushing you. Yep, that's birchwood. Ore again. Ores are affected. Ice is not. Or at least not that packed ice. Even obsidian is affected. Now what about these? These aren't proper blocks. Or normal blocks. Crafting tables, furnaces, and pistons. They're not affected. And again, this is monolith stone. Now what's this here? Solid lava. I have not shown that off. It is from Abyssalcraft. What happens if something gets placed on them? Well, aside from the fact that they burn, it doesn't get turned into it. These are various modded blocks. Oh, look, there's a young one. And again, those are leaves. They're not affected. Various glasses again. Ooh, compressed cobblestone is affected. Reactor casing from big reactors isn't. I don't even know what was here anymore. Oh, Draconium ore from Draconic Evolution is affected. That stuff is rare. Oh well. These three are a couple of things from Thaumcraft. Those ones aren't affected. But yeah. Oh look, we've got some monoliths appearing. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, like I said, the Shoggoths can turn almost every type of block into the ooze. Yeah. They will destroy your base if you put them anywhere, if you let them go anywhere near it. Fortunately for you, Shagas cannot go up more than 1 block. So, just make a wall and there. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Well, this recording has been going on for more than half an hour at this point, so I'm gonna call this the first half of this episode, this episode, and over. Since, again, I'm gonna try to save you some time. But in the next episode about rituals, we're gonna go over what kind of rituals you can do in the overworld, and how to do them. I didn't actually demonstrate that in the this video. So yeah, I'll look forward to that in the next the next episode of Abyssalcraft is kind of awesome. Bloopers! Now, the various statues that appear are based on various characters from the Cthulhu myth.